everyone. This is attorney Lizbeth, and with me here today is attorney Delia Franco, founder of Franco Law Group. We're very excited to be here, and today we have a very important topic. We're going to cover DACA, what is going on, the current news with the U.S. Supreme Court pending decision, a little bit of history of DACA, and our recommendations moving forward. So, Ms. Franco, can you please explain a little bit about the program?
Absolutely.
And how, obviously, where we're at right now?
Well, Attorney Iñiguez, I remember June 15, 2012, the day they announced the DACA program. I remember getting teary-eyed. I remember being so excited because finally I was going to be able to help all these students that were interested in living lawfully in the United States. So I remember how happy I was. And now here we are. So yes, this program started in June 15, 2012. We've had it for about 8 years now. And it's been a very, very useful tool for a number of people. Over 700, I believe, anywhere from 700 to 800 people have this employment authorization document that allows them to live lawfully, obviously temporarily, in the United States. So that's the history of the program. And what do you think about what's happening, that this big decision that we're waiting for?
Right. It's definitely nerve-wracking. It is, as a practitioner, as an attorney, is, we want to have our answers, our definitive answers for our clients and for the community. But right now it's so uncertain. I don't think no one knows what's going to happen. What we do know is that it's a conservative court. The U.S. Supreme Court is mainly conservative, which that means that it may potentially be unfavorable for our immigrant community. So again, I like to obviously plan ahead of time and figure out what are our options for our clients. So if it is negative, my train of thought is, okay, what's going to happen? What steps are they going to put into place? Because again, like you said, it's possibly about 800,000 dreamers that we have. There's no way that this government can strip that benefit and place them all in court. Right now, as we know, our court system is overwhelmed.
What do you think the government's going to do with over 700,000 people with our current immigration system? What are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think that perhaps if it's unfavorable, I think most likely they'll allow for the time frame to elapse. DACA is for 2 years. So again, I think it would be reasonable, but again, we don't know if reasonable describes this administration. I would say perhaps they'll allow the 2 years to elapse, and then potentially they may place these individuals, the dreamers, in removal proceedings, but who knows, or maybe they'll extend it, as we've seen with TPS. For TPS, they announced that they were going to end the program. They've been extending it every few months. So with DACA, I think it's likely that they'll probably allow for the expiration to cease, and maybe there'll be an extension, or maybe there's another plan. We are in an election cycle, so again, it feels like, unfortunately, at this administration and just in general, the immigrant community is always used as a guinea pig during election time. So what a coincidence that, again, we're here at election times and we're again discussing DACA in another immigration topic.
Exactly. I hope that it's favorable, either in the courts or eventually politically. But my concern is what's going to happen. Are they going to place them in proceedings? Are they going to start removal proceedings against them? And if so, are we going to have all these students, all these people that have some type of education, have to go to court every day, try to figure out, imagine the anxiety. And I remember many of my clients initially, when they were applying for the first time, they asked me, can I give this information to the government? Can I trust them that they won't deport me eventually? And the truth was then that I didn't think they were going to use it against them. I didn't assure them, of course, but now I also feel betrayed. This is not right, that these students gave their information, filled out those applications, very excited to get that EAD, and now potentially they can be placed in proceedings. So that is the problem that I have with what's happening.
Absolutely, yes. It's like, and a lot of young immigrant children didn't apply for the same fear, because it's a very legitimate fear. Why am I going to apply for this benefit? Although it is temporary, and we were all aware that it's temporary. We don't know, but again, at least it protects our clients for those 2 years. I feel comfortable that my clients will be protected for those 2 years. But again, it's a temporary benefit, and the future is unknown. And absolutely, I agree. It's devastating that the dreamers, we have doctors, nurses, we have first responders, students. It's extremely the top notch of our community being threatened again, and it's unfortunate. But I think that maybe this administration is using it. I'm hopeful that it's a tactic to scare the community, and maybe they don't rescind the program. But with that being said, we have to be active. We can't just wait, because I've met a lot of young, talented, I would say adults that decided not to pursue it for the same and legitimate fear that they didn't know what was going to happen. So they prefer living in the shadows than exposing themselves. But I think this is the time of as we've seen that it's enough is enough. We need to be out there, talk to our Congress members, be very vocal about what's happening, because that's the only way we're going to see some change. If we express obviously our discontent with the laws, because immigration laws are absolutely unfair and they're very, I mean, archaic, they're old, they need more progress, but Congress doesn't do anything. And I think this is the excuse the administration is using. It is not our job to fix the immigration system, it is Congress. So tell your Congress members to do so. And yes, it is Congress' job to do so. But again, the administration had the authority at the time when Obama was and a president to do so, and he did it, and he helped so many young, very talented members of our community. So it's very unfortunate. So I want to make sure that if you're listening and you have DACA, what to do, because I want to make sure that we're giving you tips. So if unfortunately right now you can't apply for DACA, but you can renew it, which is very, very important. And what I am recommending is if your DACA will expire within the next year, or even 6 months or 3 months, to renew it. And the question is, why do I need to renew it? Because it's so uncertain, right? But again, I always try to secure some positive benefits for the community. So we have seen that the renewals immigration is renewing relatively fast. We've received approvals within 2 to 3 months recently, which is actually very impressive, and I'm glad that we're getting it fast. So again, I do recommend to renew your DACA, so at least you are protected for 2 more years if you have DACA. So that is right now, that is my recommendation. So if you have DACA, absolutely renew it, even if it expires in a year, because if it expires in a year, you're securing yourself another 2 years in the meantime that we don't know what's going to happen. So might as well be protected for another 2 years.
Definitely. Another recommendation that I would give would be to try to look for a plan B. And what I mean by that is talk to an immigration lawyer, because there might be another relief that you might be ignoring because you were so comfortable with your DACA, you were so comfortable with your work permits. If you've been married to a United States citizen for a while, or if you were a victim of a crime, or if there's any other way that you can adjust. But have that conversation with a lawyer that knows the law and will give you some advice. Ms. Iñiguez, can you tell us about a story of how, we were talking about this earlier, how a DACA student used DACA to eventually become a resident? This could be a positive lift for our conversation.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. As we mentioned, DACA is only temporarily, but it has helped so many reach the permanent stage. So knowing that you're protected for 2 years gives a person a sense of comfort in pursuing a case. So what we were discussing earlier is that we had a case at the firm where a very young client came into our office, and unfortunately she was removed at a very young age. And then, but she was afraid and she didn't know what to do. So at the time we were able to get her DACA, and then it gave us an opportunity to request her record and figure out what other avenues does she have. So we were able to request her entire record, doing an investigation, and we filed a motion to reopen that removal order that she had, and thankfully it was reopened. And just recently this year, the government agreed to terminate her case because USCIS adjudicated favorably her residency. So she's now a resident. So I'm always really happy to help, especially those complicated cases that so many people turn away, because yes, there are complicated cases, which means it's going to be more work. But if you're not in this field to basically do all the dirty work, and meaning the complicated work, and obviously not the easy filling out forms and sending them, then you're not in the right field. Immigration is complicated. It's messy, but that's why those that really enjoy this field, that's why we're here. So if you have been turned away saying, no, you have no case, seek another opinion. It's really important that you don't give up. Again, immigration is complicated, but if you have DACA, this is your chance to look for a permanent benefit, whether, like Attorney Franco said, a family petition, maybe a U visa if you were a victim of crime, maybe you were a victim of your spousal battery or whatever it may be, maybe a VAWA. So again, there's different avenues, but we need to really figure out what helps these dreamers. So again, it's a matter of asking, going for a consultation and asking the questions. And if one attorney says no, keep on looking, because you just never know. This is another thing that I want to inform, the community. I've seen and reviewed cases that come to my office after 10 years that they may have qualified for something. And they didn't do it because someone said no 10 years ago. And I said, you should have really, really searched well, because yes, maybe that attorney was correct, but you don't know. If one says no, keep looking, maybe 10 consultations until, if the 10 are no, then maybe it's a no. But again, it is your case, it is your livelihood. So my suggestion is always keep getting a second opinion. It does not hurt. And, rather than living in fear, go out and be very vocal about, obviously, your status and how is it that you can have a permanent benefit here in the United States.
Definitely. I have a lot of my clients that ask me, why do some lawyers have an opinion about my case that is one way? And why do you have a different opinion? And the truth is that we are different advocates. And sometimes a lot has to do with the level of knowledge that you have in immigration law. I know that certain law firms only take cases that what we call cookie cutter cases, the easy cases, the slam dunk cases. And that's what they want to focus on, because they don't want to get hairy in the complicated issues. They don't want to request FOIAs or request documents that take maybe a year, sometimes 2 years to receive. And then we finally get the file and it's over 600 pages, and we have to sit there and review every single document to try to figure out if there's any way that we can help. There's those types of lawyers that will do the dirty work, and then there's other lawyers that will just do the basic cases. That's probably one of the reasons why they have different opinions. They just say, no, that is not, you don't have a case because that lawyer will not take your case. In our office, we like the complicated cases. We like to get challenged. We like to turn lives around. So for example, in our office, I think we've had quite a few DACA recipients that now are lawful permanent residents because we had that opportunity to request their files. And we also have, for example, clients that filed during the amnesty years in the 80s. And they came to our office saying, I don't know what happened. I think, it was going well. And then the lawyer disappeared or the notary disappeared, and they just didn't know what happened to their case. We requested the file, and guess what? We were able to reopen their cases. And a lot of these people are now residents because of that. So again, get a second opinion. I definitely agree with Attorney Iñiguez.
Yeah, definitely. And it's really important right now more than ever, especially because this administration has shown no mercy for our community. So as such, when we are attacked, we must respond with educating ourselves and being out there. So that is the appropriate way of combating this administration, to be completely honest. So if you have DACA, again, feel free. Right now, we are conducting consultations for free for our DACA's potential clients or dreamers, because it's really important. Again, this is, dreamers are absolutely at no fault of their own that they're here. Again, we hear this rhetoric of people saying, well, you came here with authorization, you did it the wrong way. Our dreamers were brought as children. So again, these are talented individuals that deserve an opportunity to be here. And until Congress does something, or maybe the Supreme Court does something, it is our responsibility to educate them and to let them know that, as of right now, the only thing we can control is to renew those DACAs. So at least we can give them 2 more years while hopefully we get a new administration. I'm hopeful. But yeah, so definitely, Ms. Franco, any other suggestions or comments for the dreamers?
I would say 1, renew your DACA. 2, if that is all you have, please try to look for a plan B. And 3, stay tuned for the decision and be ready.
Absolutely, absolutely, because it can be any time now. And again, we won't know what the decision is until it comes out. So I know all the advocates are waiting because it was supposed to be this Monday, but we don't know. So again, it's really important if you're a dreamer to stay up to date with the news, with reliable news, of course, so you can find out what are the next steps to take. So now, shifting really fast, I would like to discuss recent updates in regards to what's going on with COVID-19 and our immigration cases. So, well, everyone has been impacted, of course, with COVID-19, and especially the immigration courts and the offices as well. So as of right now, it seems like USCIS, the offices that handle petitions for what's called adjustment of status, for green cards, for citizenships, U visas, all of those are working, but now it seems like they're resuming interviews as well, Ms. Franco. It seems like as of June 4th, they have opened, certain field offices have opened. I personally haven't received an interview notice yet for our area of Los Angeles, but we are pending. I believe Los Angeles is scheduled to have an oath ceremony for the citizenship as of June towards the end, which is positive because we need obviously everyone that has passed their civics exam and has cleared their application to actually just take the oath so they can hopefully vote this election cycle. So what do you think about that? Mm-hmm.
Yes, another change is as of June 26th, the immigration court should open. So that's a big change. We've seen them continue to change the date. We don't know if in fact they are going to be opening on June 26th, but if you have a court date or if you know somebody that has a court date, this is the time to also get ready because it's more than likely that those courts are going to be reopening very, very soon.
Yeah, definitely. So I think right now the marching order is that it's going to, supposedly it's extended up to the 26th. So maybe the following days it will reopen. We also received a decision, not a decision, but a marching order from Los Angeles, the court on Olive Street next to Pershing Square, that it seems like the court, it never happened before, but they're going to allow telephonic court hearings, which again, everyone's adapting to what's happening in order to keep our community safe, to keep obviously everyone safe. But what I found concerning is that if you are represented, meaning if you're in court, it appears if you're going to go here in Los Angeles, you will be allowed for your attorney to appear in court, and the respondents will, their presence will be waived only if you have an attorney. So my question is, what's going to happen with everyone that doesn't have an attorney? That's really concerning. But again, the order that we received doesn't say anything in regards to what we call pro se respondents. So what do you think, Ms. Franco, like what could happen for a person that's not represented, which it is a large majority of individuals?
Well, in the past, if you didn't show up to court, you got an order of removal. So now, do they have to show up physically if they don't have an attorney, or is that going to be another incentive to have an attorney? Is it fair that people have to show up and expose themselves to COVID-19 because they don't have an attorney? So those are issues that definitely need a lot of fleshing out, because I don't think they're ready. They can't just go ahead and put dates here and there without having a plan. And that's obviously my concern. Before we even knew that this was going to happen in Los Angeles, we had adopted a policy in our office where we were going to request telephonic hearings for all of our clients until we felt more comfortable that COVID-19 was no longer a threat. But good thing that it was adopted by Los Angeles court. But how about those that don't have an attorney? So it is a big concern.
Right. So it's very uncertain. So because I don't think they have a plan yet, again, maybe they don't open, maybe they extend it to July, which again, it creates this uncertainty because we've been preparing for all our cases in court, but we've been told we're continuing. So we can't just sit and be comfortable and not prepare for our cases because, again, we don't know. And this is the way that we're seeing that immigration is practicing. They tell us 2 weeks before they announce an extension. So our clients are being diligent out getting documents, exposing themselves. We are, preparing for merits, and then we hear via Twitter, oh, it's extended. Okay. So I'm like, okay, so I guess I have to call my clients. Unfortunately, we prep for this amount of hours, but it's going to continue. So it's very, very stressful. But again, it's just, we are, like I tell my clients and I tell our staff, we just unfortunately need to adapt and move on. You know, we just continue working. And during this climate, it is stressful, but that's all we can do, continue working.
Yes, my recommendation for that is stay tuned. We have a Facebook account and an Instagram account, and we are on top of all of the changes with immigration. So you will learn from our social media sources about any changes that take place, even though they're very unfair.
Yeah, no, definitely. So as of now, what we do know is that if you have a hearing set for July, as of now, July hearings are supposedly still moving forward. So if you're in court, please prepare yourself, because as of now, they're still moving forward. The only hearings that have been rescheduled or will be rescheduled are those scheduled up to June 26th. So please be proactive, work with your attorney. If you don't have an attorney, again, schedule a consultation. That's why we're here. Feel free. It's so accessible now, so there's no excuses. We're available through phone. We're using our social platforms. So it's very, very easy to schedule a consultation, and I urge you to do so, because again, right now is the time to just make sure that, you know, get an attorney or just a second opinion, just to make sure that you're ready for your hearing. But yes, definitely stay informed. Definitely is the key to go for.
Absolutely. Well, we'll sum it up. It was really nice to have this conversation. And if you have any more questions, we'd be happy to have a sit down with you and answer all of your immigration questions.
Absolutely. Always a pleasure. Have a good one, everyone.
Thank you.